episode is brought to you by Caltif Investments and Consultants. If you're looking for investments for new construction, home, or renovation project, they definitely can provide that service. If you're looking to rent or lease a property, Caltif Investment is the way to go. If you're watching this from our Instagram page, definitely their handle will be within the body of the post. If you're watching this, the full episode on YouTube, definitely send me a message and I'll definitely connect you. It's called the Netwrk for a reason. What's going on, guys? Your boy Sadiq. Welcome to the Netwrk. Today's guest is the one and only Deanna Kelly. Invited her to this platform so we can gain some insight into who she is, what she does, and the service that she provides to the community. Deanna, welcome to the platform. If you don't mind, I want to definitely get right into it. Who is Deanna Kelly?
First and foremost, I'm a woman of God. Faith is really big in my life. And honestly, a pastor in my church, every time he would see me, anytime he really sees anyone, he says, woman of God, how you doing? Man of God, how you doing? And it kind of is like, you know what, you speak over you, you become that. Yeah. So I got to put that out there first and foremost.
All right, blessings.
But I'm a lot of things. I'm a mother, I'm a friend, a sister, a daughter, a community member. And like one of my greatest assets is I'm a go-getter for sure.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. Let's get it.
Yeah, so I'm talkative, I got a big personality, and I don't let things get in my way.
So we followed each other for quite some time. We have a lot of mutual friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you provide a service to a lot of our mutual friends,
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yep.
But your childhood experience, right? How was that like for you?
So that was so my childhood was pretty rough.
Yeah. How so?
Not a lot of great memories, unfortunately. But I grew up in a single parent household, and my mom, me, and my sister. We moved around a lot. I went to 4 different elementary schools.
Jeez.
Yeah, and we kind of moved back and forth between my mom, my grandparents for a while, and then eventually my mom did get remarried, and I have 2 younger siblings, but didn't get much better, to be honest. Basically never came from like nothing for the most part, like never really had any money, dealing with like no lights on, no food, being on food stamps, like pretty rough childhood. And it's interesting because like as I'm older and the people I've met and throughout my career, you know, when they hear my story, they're just like, what? Like what? And I'm like, oh yeah. And I grew up in Providence.
Yeah.
I went to Roger Williams Middle School.
Oh, so you went to school right in the hood. Okay.
Right
in the hood.
I didn't live like in a really bad, I lived off Reservoir Ave, so I didn't live like in the hood.
Mm-hmm. But you went to middle school in the hood. How did that work out?
So I loved it. To be honest, like I'm not even gonna lie, like I lived in Cranston a little bit of my childhood, but mainly I grew up in Providence. But to be honest, once I moved to Providence is where I finally like got friends. Gotcha. And though I went to like a really bad middle school, for us, it was bad. It was bad. I can't lie. It was bad.
I know Roger Williams. I know.
But I was definitely one of the very few like white individuals. But some of my friends today, I'm still friends with from that school. And I had great experience there. I had really good teachers. Just growing up like the way that I did, like I took school really serious. And so even being in that school, like it has its like stigmas or whatever people say about like Providence public schools are not the best. But like we were fortunate. We had really good teachers that really pushed us and like wanted us to succeed. And so the opportunity was there, but you just have to take it. Yeah. And luckily at a young age, like growing up in the household that I did, I knew like this is not what I want my life to be. Mm-hmm. And so no matter what school I was in, I took it serious. But I have fun. It was fun.
What made you decide to take it serious? Like what was that? What impacted you to want to create something different for yourself?
I think remembering, like, to be honest, I remember being maybe in like 7th grade. It was 7th or 8th grade. We even had like, it was, for whatever reason, it was like social studies. We had this like opportunity where you had to go in the newspaper. That's not a thing anymore, and find a job. And it was like, find a job. How much is your rent gonna be? How much is it for a car? What are your utilities? We had to create like a home budget. Yeah. And like in our home, we didn't have like, never really had a car. people used to give my mom rides back and forth. Like during the week, wasn't a lot of food. On Fridays, we got a little treat. And so, like, just growing up in an environment where everything is scarce, knowing that, like, unfortunately, from a young age, just literally, like, there has to be more to life than this. And, like, in some aspects, a lot of people around me, you know, were in similar situations, but a lot of my friends weren't. They had 2-parent households. Their parents worked. My mom never worked until I went to high school. And now that I'm an adult, now I know, how did we survive? Well, she survived off the system. Not a way to survive, not really a way to live, especially with children. Like, but for us, it was normal. It was normal in the sense where, like, we're just doing what we can with what we got. But I knew there was more. Like, 8th grade, I'm like, there's more to this. Like, I'm going to go to high school. I'm going to do really good so I can go to college. And, like, I'm going to have a great life. Like, this is not going to be my life.
How do you feel like you were different from the kids that went to that school in terms of your skin complexion? Did you feel like you were privileged? Did you feel like did you just feel different? Did you feel out of place?
So I would, like, to be honest, I would say no. I definitely obviously acknowledge that, like, I was white in a school that's mostly minorities. I think at that age, I probably didn't understand, like, what white privilege was, and that even though, like, the people I'm with, we might be from similar backgrounds where we have only one parent, we're on food stamps or welfare, whatever the case may be, that I still have a privilege that they don't have. As an adult, I'm fully aware of that. But I don't think when I was that young, I realized that was a thing, because we were all struggling. I had friends that live in the projects, friends that were raised by grandparents. And so I seen but then I had friends that lived in Providence but had 2 parents. Their parents worked. They had the best sneakers on. Like, you know how it is growing up in Providence. Like, you got to have the sneakers,
you
have the
fashionably
fit.
loud.
Yes. And, like, I remember, like, begging my mom for some, like, New Balances. And like, begging her, and they were like $90, and I was like, there's no way I'm ever gonna get these. And I don't know how she bought them, but I got them, but never asked for a pair of sneakers again, I don't think.
Listen, it's crazy because I remember when I went to middle school. I went to Netwrk Middle School, and so when I came to this country when I was 5 years old, and a lot of I went to Georgia West Elementary, which was in Providence. So I dealt with a lot of trying to fit in with a lot of the kids that grew up in the urban community. Then I transitioned over to Netwrk Middle School, obviously. And then during that time, I remember how I was just watching everybody, and I just realized how everybody was just their fit was fly. They were so fashionably loud. I'm like, damn.
It's a thing. Like, you gotta keep up.
In Providence, you literally, it's like your image.
It's a stress.
It's stress. Your brand image itself has to, like, stand apart, you know, because that's, and I realized that became who you are as an individual. People know you for what you stand for, and, like, then you end up trying to fit in. You know, and you just end up going through that cycle, like, how can I do that? And especially when your parents don't have it like that. You try to figure out how you keep up to that. You know, and did you feel like you constantly had to keep up with that?
I definitely felt the need to. Like, certain things, like, oh, okay, how am I gonna get a new pair of sneakers? I used to, like, remember Reeboks, and Reeboks were in style. So I had a white pair, and I might have had a black pair, and I used to shoe polish them because I wasn't getting a new pair.
I understood what you're doing.
So, like, I had to, like, don't touch my sneakers, don't step on them. Like, I'm not, like, I mean, in middle school, it wasn't, like, outside playing, but, like, I can't go outside and play because I need to wear these, like, I can't be coming incorrect to school because you're gonna get clowned, like, you just are. And so it wasn't great. Like, luckily, like, I had a good group of friends, and so it wasn't like I didn't really deal with bullying too much. There were a couple girls, you know, that whatever, but it wasn't too bad because, like, a lot of us were from the same, dealing with the same things, like trying to get our parents to, like, somehow afford a pair of sneakers. And so I definitely felt the need for sure. But like, it wasn't so bad that it was, like, detrimental to me.
I remember when I was in middle school and my parents bought me, I'm not sure if you ever heard of East Siders.
Oh no, no,
So
no.
East Siders were, oh my gosh, East Siders were an imitation of the Adidas.
Oh,
So
okay.
rather than the three lines, they had four lines. So I
Like
was,
K-Swiss.
oh my gosh, dog, oh my gosh, I'm just having flashbacks now. I used to get tortured all the time.
It's
Talk about
rough.
bullying. Oh
It's
my, if your
rough.
fit wasn't fly, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to where you're at. You went through this journey. Um, and trying to find yourself
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. How did that whole entrepreneur spirit started to come about for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I remember like being young and I think like watching The Apprentice or something and I'm
Mm,
like, "Oh, I'm going to be a businesswoman." And I didn't know what a businesswoman was
mm,
at all. And like even like in high school, like when I was set to go to college,
yeah,
okay, I'm going to study. It was like psychology or business.
yeah,
And depending on what school I got in, that's what I was going to pick. And so I ended up going to URI, which is a great school.
mm,
Um and so I studied business because I knew something. I knew for whatever reason, I'm like, I want to wear a suit. I want to work in a company. I want to be
yeah,
part of business. And so, like, I made my way through college and my career, and I have a career in accounting.
mhm,
I went to where I got my bachelor's and I got my master's. But I honestly never wanted to like own a business and be an entrepreneur. I ended up becoming like a single mom really young, right out of
mm,
college. I actually found out I was pregnant when I was graduating with my bachelor's, and I was enrolled in the master's program. And I remember like, just I was devastated. Not
yeah,
gonna lie, I was like, I don't. How am I gonna do this? Like, I have all these goals, I have all these aspirations. Like, how did I get myself in this situation?
yeah,
Like, this is crazy. And because God is so good,
yeah,
I literally so I found out I was pregnant. My due date was set to happen during Christmas break.
mhm,
So fortunately, the master's program in accounting is just a year.
all right,
So first semester, I was pregnant. I was 9 months pregnant, taking my finals. I literally gave birth to my son during Christmas break.
wow,
And then I went back, finished my master's when he was 2 weeks old. I went back to class and I finished at URI in the summer. So I just had to, because that's like a testimony in itself.
but how do you overcome that? Especially, it's crazy, right?
I
Because
know I
no,
veered off, but like you gotta hear the beginning.
no. I need to understand how you overcame that whole ordeal because there are a lot of maybe single mothers out there
Hmm.
who's trying to figure it out as
Yep.
well. Maybe there are some young ladies that are in
Yeah.
college and maybe they just found out that
Mhm.
they are pregnant.
Mhm.
How did you figure it out?
I think like for me, it was a matter of like not like life and death, not life and death, but life and death.
Yeah,
Like
your back
I
was
have a
against the
path,
wall.
my back's against the wall.
Yeah,
You have to choose your path. So you can either like wallow in sorrow, like, oh, poor me, and kind of like give up on yourself, give up on your dreams, or you figure that shit out.
yeah,
And like this gotta work. So I don't have a choice,
mm,
right? I feel like a lot of things in my life were like, I don't have a choice. I gotta do what I gotta do.
yeah,
And so like, one, to be honest, I feel like God is just with me. So like he has my back. He's pushing me through these things.
mm,
But for myself, it's just you can't be afraid. You can't you have to go after these things. You can't just kind of like hide in a corner. You just have to put one foot in front of the other. And so luckily, like the way it panned out is I was fortunate that I had him during Christmas break. But a lot of it is mentality is like if you think that you're not going to be able to do something, you won't do it.
facts,
But if you're like, no, I got this, I'm going to do this, like no matter what it takes, you're going to get it done.
facts.
And so I think that is you just have to have faith in yourself. Um and like even like people around you. I remember this story's crazy. I was in the doctor's office and the doctor, like whatever she was, I think a nurse practitioner. And so I'm fully pregnant and
Mhm.
getting my master's, and they're looking at me crazy because I'm young. I know they see I'm on state medical. I'm like, I know they're judging me. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care. I know it. I'm convinced. And so I remember she said, she was like asking me what my plans were. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to go back to school like once the baby is born. And she's like, well, I don't know that you're being realistic because you're going to have a newborn. Like,
Yeah.
this is going to be like challenging. And I'm looking at her like, yeah, I know. And I finished my master's because I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
You know, luckily my son's father was there at the time, so like he was able to stay with him. I was able to go to school, and like that piece worked out. But like to this day, it's like I wish I knew who that lady was because she's not there anymore. And I'm like, I just want to say, oh, I got my master's and I had a great career and now I own a business. So guess what? Don't tell young women they can't do what they want to do.
Facts.
Like, who are you to tell me what I'm gonna achieve?
It's crazy because you always have individuals. There's always that one person, right, that always wants to shit on your opportunity to get ahead in life or to pursue some form of successful career path for yourself. And through those individuals, they're the one who kind of gives you that will or that drive
that
to be able
push,
to push to move forward, because now it seems like you have to prove somebody wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and I know a lot of individuals, you even hear celebrities who speak on stuff like that, where they talk about how there's always that one individual that always put them down or letting them know they can't do something.
Yep.
And they do it, and they did it, and they've accomplished and are a lot further in life than the individuals that try to put them down.
It's always.
What did your mindset, how did you establish your mindset to be more, to think entrepreneur?
Yeah, so for me, to go back to that, basically, so I worked in like corporate accounting for most of my career, and then boom, COVID happens, everybody's home. So now I'm home, working from home. My job basically did me shady. They cut our pay, they cut half of our staff, so now I have less pay and more work. And I'm just home. And to be honest, I had a friend who was like, who'd been telling me for years, like, oh, you need to start your own business. You need to do this on your own. You got to stop working for somebody else. And I'm like, no. And then like, so during this time now, like, it's becoming more like realistic because I'm like, I'm doing my corporate job from home.
What kind of corporate job was it?
So I work for like a wholesaler, but I'm an accounting manager. I was an accounting manager there.
All right.
So basically doing financial statements, financial reporting for a big company, for multi-million, like hundreds of $1 million company. Gotcha. So working in their accounting department, doing basically their financials. And so I'm like, you know, and my friend who's pushing me, like sending me YouTube videos, sending me Facebook stuff, and was like, you need to just start your own thing. And so literally I always ignored him. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm a single mom. Like I have a lot on my plate. I'm trying to advance my career. Like it's not easy to start a business. It's not at all. But now I know it's doable, you know, because I took the risk, you know, but especially like where I grew up, no one in my family owned a business. They barely had decent jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you don't see a lot of that, it's impossible. Yeah. But anyway, so I finally watched the damn YouTube video, and literally it was just like a bell went off, and I was like, I can do this for myself. Yeah. Like, why am I not doing this? So literally because we were home in COVID, I had nothing but time. Literally,
that's all we all had at that time.
Nothing but time. And so I literally just dived in. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos about people that owned bookkeeping firms, similar to like an accounting firm. Yeah. I'm not a CPA, so I don't do audits. I don't necessarily do taxes, but basically you prepare the books for all of those things for different companies. And so literally in a week, I researched how to register with the state, how to get my LLC, how to get my EIN. Mm-hmm. I went on like line, made a website myself, winged it, made an Instagram, made a Facebook, let everyone I could possibly know. Yeah. I started a business. I now provide bookkeeping to small businesses. And because everything shifted to like the online space, which was like all timing, because now everyone is on Zoom. Zoom pops off. Everything's on Zoom. To this day, everything's on Zoom. It's just so easy. And so now like businesses are more apt to like meeting with people online, not having to see them face to face. Joining networking groups online, not having to go meet in person. Now I can do 4 networking groups a day because I don't have to drive anywhere. And so literally just starting the business is what just led me into like the entrepreneurship mode. And so it was like that push and then that COVID of like free time and my corporate job pissing me off. And I was like, screw this. I'm going to do my own thing at my own time. I'm not going to work for anyone. And I'm going to try to get this rolling. But yeah, so I actually worked my corporate job for 3 years before I actually went full-time in my business. Because I'm a money person, I was like, I want to save so much money. I got to be like smart about it. And so I was. So I made sure I saved a certain amount of money. I had a certain amount of clients to like hold me over, like bare minimum, like all my bills is paid. And then I was like, all right, that's it. I'm quitting the corporate job, and I'm gonna employ myself.
Pursue that career.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's crazy? You know what I've realized is that entrepreneurship is extremely hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's no secrets to it by any means necessary. The journey, you climb that mountain on your own. People don't understand your pain,
Oh, it's a
the
lot.
tears that you
It's a
shed.
lot.
I remember
Yes.
there was times, right? So I do real estate. I
Yep,
do
yep.
this podcast. There were times where me personally, I was out of it mentally. There was times where like I was just alone in the dark and just trying to think like, damn, people don't. If you're not an entrepreneur, you don't understand how
Oh,
it
not at
feels to
all.
climb that mountain on your own, the struggle that you go through, and a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs, they think that we have it easy because they see the end result,
Yeah.
but they don't see the
What it
struggle,
takes to
what
get
it
there.
takes. You know,
It's not.
it's not easy.
It's
It's
not.
not easy. How do you overcome the complexity, the complex? Excuse me. How do you overcome the complicated factors of being an entrepreneur?
I think it goes back to that, like, kind of like I have no choice, right?
Yeah.
I have a son. I'm a single mom, and so he counts on me, nobody else. And so I have to get it done. And I think, and again, faith. You have to have faith in yourself. You
Yeah.
can't let
That's
fear.
very important.
It is, because if you don't believe in yourself, one, you're not gonna have confidence to go after whatever it is. You know what I mean? Whoever you're serving, they're not gonna have confidence in you, because you can tell when someone's not confident in something. You
Facts.
know. And so I think that, like, having faith in yourself, having that confidence, and also obviously to run any kind of business, you need some kind of expertise. So like, you need to be an expert in your field. So you need to kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
For the most part, I know like you can venture in all kinds of different areas and learn, because I definitely didn't know everything about being an entrepreneur when I started, but I knew one thing: I had a skill and I could sell it. And so that was, and even to this day, because my business is definitely not where I want it to be, but it's definitely growing every day, and it's thriving. And so every day I just remind myself of like, how can I learn more? How can I service my clients better? How can I market myself? So there's challenges every day. And I think you just have to have that mindset of like, I can figure it out. And like, you can't give up. You just have to keep pushing.
Yeah.
For sure.
You talk highly about your son, all right? And a lot of things, it seems like a lot of the things that you do is for your son, right? Your son is biracial. How, the challenge, do you face any challenges due to that aspect, because you have a son who's biracial, you're white? Do you feel like there's any sense of people look at you different because of the space that you're in and the child that you're raising?
So it's a good question.
It's interesting, right?
It is, because like, so if I walk into a workplace or I have clients, right, they just see me as a white woman.
Yeah.
You have this business, you have this education, or whatever the case may be. And then them finding out that I'm a single mom, I feel like always gives people like, oh, okay. And then when I'm like, oh, this is my son, and he's like a very
That's
big,
the icing on the cake right there. You're like, oh man, yeah, go
so
ahead.
I can't lie. I know that there's times where I like wondered, if people are like judging me because my son is biracial, because people are racist. This is what it is. And you'd never know who's racist. So it definitely comes across my mind. I know in workplaces, even some clients, like if they follow me on Instagram, like I think it's in the back of my mind. I kind of wonder, because obviously, I'm very aware of my privilege and being white, but like I'll unfortunately never understand what he's gonna go through in life, and there's a lot of hidden racist people too, they're not openly. And so I think that, I definitely say like sometimes I wonder, if people are like judgmental in that factor, but I definitely like, that's your problem. I can't be worried about it. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't see it really as a challenge for me, but I think I'm well aware of it, that there are people that might look at me differently. But again, like, not being concerned with that.
How do you, as he's getting older, and he might want to pursue a career in entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
What does that guidance look like for you?
I think what is like incredible is looking at how I grew up. I didn't see a lot of, no one in my family owned a business. Like, me and my sister were the first people to go to college, like amongst our like cousins. I think one family member above us went to college. And so for me is like him seeing, so things didn't seem like they could happen for you. When you come from nothing, you don't really often think things are possible. You're like, oh, well, that's only for people who are rich or people who have two parents, or like, I can't do those things. So I think like one of the reasons I go so hard, and like I talk to him about business all the time.
That's dope.
Every time I get a client, I talk to him. Every time, like, he knew I was coming here, he was like, it's lit.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Because I want him to think it's normal. Yeah. So I think like the more that you're exposed to things, they become a normal, and then they don't seem as unattainable. And so for him, like, so he's a football player. And
he's a big kid.
He's a big kid.
I can't even believe you pushed that kid out. That kid's a big kid.
He was little though. I was huge. I was big as hell. But he actually wasn't that big. But he's a big boy. Yeah. Every time someone sees him,
I'll be scared to play football with that kid. I'm like, all right, kid, you're going to have to play football on your own. I'll stay in my own lane. You're too big for me over there, brother. That's funny.
But even like when it comes to football, like for him, whatever his goals are, football, whatever college he wants to go, whatever career path, I want him to know that like I chased after my dreams and I made it happen. And if something didn't happen, it's okay. We went another route because something else was for me. So I want him to have that idea that whatever your goals are, you can go after and you can get them. Like, don't let somebody tell you that they can't happen. And I want him to think it's normal. So like, I feel like that's why I go so hard starting this business, trying to venture out into other businesses, purchasing a home, trying to buy investment properties. Like, I want it all to seem normal so that he doesn't feel like he can attain these things.
As a single mother, what challenges do you face in terms of scheduling meetings? Like, what does that must be heavy on you a lot of times.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like just having kids in general, never mind like being a single parent, like having kids is hard.
Yeah.
Kids are a lot of work. It's no joke.
Facts.
And
I
like
have 2 of them.
Yeah,
they torture me.
So, to be honest, like one of the things I really started doing is you have to make time because there's not enough time to do all these things during the day, especially like luckily I only have one child, but I have one child that I'm fully responsible for. So I wake up dumb early. I wake up at 5:30. I have to. And sometimes I don't go to bed till midnight. I kind of am over the idea of like, when you're pursuing a goal, especially when you become an entrepreneur, like I'm not out hanging out all the time. Nope, I can't go to every event. Nope, I can't do that because I have a meeting, I have an appointment, I have client work I need to do. My son has a football game, and I'm not missing that because I'm going to show up for him. And so it's definitely, it can be very overwhelming. I think one of the things that really helped, which might sound funny or not, I don't know, but like your health. If you don't take care of your health, you do not have energy to do anything.
Facts.
You literally you just don't. And so that's why I started waking up 5:30, getting a workout in. Yeah. I pray, obviously. I read my Bible. And then I'm up before he is. And so his lunch is packed. His uniform is ready to go. He gets off to school. And literally I live by a calendar. And so something so simple, but everything, if it's on my calendar, it ain't happening. Right. If I missed it, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be there. Yeah. But I think, is like you have to find when you're after something, you can't make excuses. Yeah. Like tired, throw it out the window. Right. We're all tired, but if you have a dream, you have to go get it.
You have to be that go getter. Even when I schedule things out, like if there's any meetings or anybody wants to sit down and have a meeting with me, I'm like, listen, as long as I know a week ahead in advance, I'll send them my email. As long as it's a certain time frame. So I block my times from morning to 2. And again from about 5:30 and after, right? I just let them know, find a time slot that works for you within that time range. Book yourself in. If I double book or if it's a double book meeting, then I'll let you know, hey, we're gonna have to figure something out, change the schedule, whatever the case may be. So I try to calendarize my day-to-day operation, because I've realized that if I don't, it's easy for me to get caught up in this whirlwind of chaos that I have going on a
and
daily
accomplish
basis.
nothing
And
too.
and you feel like you ain't accomplished anything.
Yeah, so like you
So
have
it's
to
very important.
yeah, I think sticking to a schedule, and luckily because now I own my own business,
Yeah.
so like my schedule revolves around my son's schedule. So if he got a game, I'm not available during that period of
Yeah.
time, or I know he has drop off, pickup, whatever the case may be. And I think like having community, like you can't do it alone. And so I'm fortunate that I have good people around us that can you pick my son up? Could you drop him off? Or whatever the case may be. But you do what you have to do. So there ain't enough time. I don't have enough time in the day to get it done, but I get what I can get done.
It's what you actually just mentioned was very important. The community aspect of it.
Yep.
Because if you don't have a community, it can make things a little harder. But when you do have a community or a foundation that you can rely on, it can help with your day-to-day business or whatever the situation is. Kelly Financial. Let's tap into that a little bit. What do you actually do? The type of services that you provide, and who are the type of clients that you also serve?
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Netwrk podcast. I'm only asking you guys for one huge favor. If you guys like what you're listening to, hearing, all that, please subscribe to the YouTube page. If you're on Instagram, like, follow, and share our Instagram page, thenetwrk.co. That's THENETWRK.co. It's your boy Sadiq.
Yeah. So we basically do bookkeeping for a plethora of small businesses. So some of the types of people that we work with, which will be easy to reference, what I do for them is businesses like law firms, chiropractors, I have like wellness coaches, things kind of in that area where they own a business, but they don't have an accounting department. Because not every business needs an accounting department or has enough work for an accounting department or has a budget for an accounting department. So that's where we come in, where we take care of their books. So basically, we take all of their financial data of their company and we turn it into financial statements on a high level. That's what we're doing. Is we're
Pro
taking
forma,
yeah,
balancing it out.
yeah, basically creating a profit and loss for them so they can see how much money they made, what were their expenses, what is their actual profit, and then kind of like two things, right? They need that information to plan for their business. If you want to grow your business, you need to know how much, what is your revenue, what revenue streams are making the most money, where is your money going, what are your expenses, is there somewhere you're overspending, is there somewhere where maybe you could put more money into marketing, and what is your bottom line? A lot of people get into entrepreneurship, and I've met so many business owners that have highly successful businesses for years and never did their books. Oh, well, what were your sales last quarter? Oh, I don't know. Well, what's your profit? Oh, I'm not sure. Did you make any estimated tax payments? No, I've never done that.
Damn.
And I'm like, it's like mind-boggling. And so we kind of come in and we organize everything for them. And so we make sure that we account for every bank account they have, every credit card they're using. Do they have loans? Do they have fixed assets? All of those things, so that they have an actual profit and loss statement, so they can see how much money they're making. They can get tax planning done. So we don't do tax planning, but basically, or tax services, but we basically do all the before.
Gotcha.
So we prepare all your financials, so then you pass it off to your tax accountant.
Gotcha.
They file your taxes, and if you need tax planning, the more money you make, you're gonna need tax planning because you want to keep as much money as you possibly can and not give it all to the damn IRS.
So you guys are basically the beginning stages for a clientele. So you guys prepare and break down their financials. When they're ready to do the taxes, they hand it over to the accountant, and it just makes it seems like it just makes the accountant life a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So by the time you go to the accountant, we've already done all the work.
Yeah.
And what happens is a lot of clients that when they first come on, they have they're sending bank statements to the tax preparer at the end of the year. And your tax preparer is going to charge you way more money. Plus, you have throughout the year, you don't even know what you've made. You don't know what your sales were. You don't know what your actual net income is. So you can't plan properly, for your business. You can't plan tax saving strategies if you wait till the end of the year to get your books in order. So we make it easy for them, which saves them money in that aspect of it, for
So
sure.
do you handle this on a quarter? What does that process
Yeah.
look like? Quarterly basis, weekly basis, annual? What does that look like?
Yep. So for most clients, it's like we provide what we call monthly bookkeeping.
right.
So throughout the month, we're working on your financials, all the money that's coming in. We're coding it to where it needs to go. All the expenses, we're making sure they're categorized properly. And then at the end of the month, we like tick and tie everything, so to speak. So we provide most of our clients with monthly bookkeeping. We have some clients, like if you're a small business just starting out, and you're like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to mess it up. We have quarterly clients for like smaller businesses where we do their financials on a quarterly basis. Typically annually it doesn't work for anyone. Like you need to do your books throughout the year so that at the end of the year it's done.
Yeah.
You can pass it off to your tax
Don't have to worry
accountant.
about things.
For
Get
sure.
it. A new client that comes on, a new client that reaches out to, hey, Deanna, I have this business. I'm looking for bookkeeping. What does that step-by-step process look like for that client?
Yeah, so for us, every client has like a free consultation where we just gather info about their business.
Gotcha.
What is the business? Is it a law firm, a chiropractor, whatever the case may be? We need to know how they're taxed. Are they an S corp? Are they an LLC? Those things matter as well. And
Why
so
is that?
just to make sure, so if you're an S corp, for example, if you're an LLC, basically you're taxed on your net income. So revenue less expenses is your net income. You're taxed on that amount. If you're an S corp, one, you have to go on payroll. Let me rewind. If you're an LLC, you take to pay yourself, right? You take what they call as owner's draw.
Yep.
Basically, your net income is your salary, and if you take the money out of the business, that's an owner's draw, and so that's considered like your paycheck.
Right.
But it's just like transferring funds to your personal account.
Gotcha.
But you're taxed on the net income no matter what, whether you take the money out of the business or you leave it in like the bank account.
Listen up.
Yeah. So S corp can save you a lot of money. I don't want to. It's tricky to explain, but changing to an S corp, if you make over, most people say if you're making profit of 50 to 60K, you should look into becoming an S corp.
All right.
Because instead of being taxed on the full net income, what you're going to do is you're going to go on payroll. You have to go on payroll if you're an S corp. You have to receive a paycheck. And so you set up payroll, you put yourself on payroll, you pay yourself monthly, say. So you're going to pay self-employment tax on those payroll wages, but the rest of the net income in the business, you're only going to be taxed at the corporate rate.
Gotcha.
Versus, and why you save money is because versus an LLC, you're paying on your net income, you're going to pay self-employment taxes on the whole amount, plus whatever your corporate tax is on the whole amount. So S corp is more of like a tax saving strategy. And so that's important to know because if you're an S corp, you have to be on payroll. And if you're not on payroll and you're an S corp, you can get in trouble with the IRS.
Ooh, she just dropped some stuff here. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so those are the things we kind of want to know. And then, some people have sales tax. I've worked with a few like catering companies. And so in Rhode Island, a lot of things are not taxable, like services. Legal services are not taxable. If you provide a service, it's not taxed for sales tax in the state of Rhode Island, but food service is. So we need to know things of that nature. Do you have, like, what is your business? Do you sell products? Do you sell a service? Do you collect sales tax? And some people collect sales tax in different states. But basically, we want to get as much information we can about the business. And so we take that data, and then a lot of businesses come to us with an accounting software in place. And a lot don't have accounting software. So one, if you own a business, everybody out there, you need accounting software. If you don't got it, you're in trouble. I'm telling you. You might be winging it.
What would be the ideal accounting software?
So what I use, I'll tell you, even though I'm not getting paid for this, but, but it's very common.
We appreciate the knowledge here at the network, though.
So I use QuickBooks Online, and so it's in the cloud. It's very user friendly. Like if you were my client, you create the profile, you connect all of your data for your whatever bank accounts you have, whatever credit card accounts, but then also you can give me access to the file. So like back in the day, you would have like maybe install some software on like a computer, so it's on like the hard drive, but now it's like evolved. Where it's all in the cloud. So you can access it, everyone can access it, which just makes it more efficient and more accessible for both parties.
Gotcha.
And so we use QuickBooks Online. there's others out there. There's a free one if you're starting small. It's called Wave Accounting, and so I do suggest that for businesses that are really small, not making a ton of money yet, because it's free.
Gotcha.
And so QuickBooks Online is not free. They have different levels for the type of business that you had and some of the things that you might require. Because some are pretty basic, but some businesses like they do payroll, or I cut their checks for them, so I do all of their accounts payable, and accounts receivable. And so accounts payable is paying people's bills, and accounts receivable is
Receiving.
yeah, the money you receive from your
Gotcha,
clients. You're billing out clients for the work you did, and then they're paying you. So that might be something I need to manage for clients as well. So we offer that service too as well. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, as well as, preparing their financials too.
That's awesome. What do you do in order to protect the interest or the safeguard of your clients?
So for us, we're actually insured.
All right.
We have hella insurance, just kind of to cover us.
What does that insurance cover?
Yeah, so basically it's a couple of things. We have professional liability, whereas like considered like errors and omissions. If typically bookkeepers wouldn't really encounter this because we're not filing taxes, but in the case, we did their books wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this was wrong, and I had to pay a penalty with my taxes. They could potentially sue you. So we have insurance that protects us against that. So that's one piece where that protects us. For my clients, I have cyber insurance.
What's it called?
Cyber insurance.
All right.
Because everything's in the cloud, you want to protect your data.
Gotcha.
So because it's all like very confidential data, it's people's money, it's like payroll things, so that's all secret, like information, social security numbers, bank accounts. And so we have cyber insurance for whatever reason. If we were hacked, and they got hold of something, that would cover our clients.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's like really important, because one of the things too, like in this business, is like about trust, because you're dealing with people's finances. This is their business, is their baby, So one, they have to trust you, and two, like that's the way we kind of like are covering ourselves and covering them as well.
Now, have you ever had any issue where a client felt like the services that you guys were providing them wasn't being protected?
No.
Good.
No. Nope. I've been very fortunate, which I think is like just a testament to my business. Is like, I feel like people trust me. So because there are people, like some of my clients I've never met, and I'm handling, yes.
So you've never met some of your clients, but they're relying on
it's a trust factor, and unfortunately, I'm trustworthy. But again, it is because like you see crazy things when you're an entrepreneur.
You really do.
You do, because even sometimes I'm like, do you want, like, sometimes it's just a phone call. Yeah. I've had people where, like, I had a gentleman was like, well, can you come down to my location? Because, like, I need to see your face. And I was like, yes, absolutely, I can.
Yeah. No, I would be a little, me personally,
I've had clients hire me before they've met me, like, paid me before I've seen them.
That's crazy, because I just feel like,
it is crazy.
in today's day and age, right?
It is crazy.
You just don't
Am
know
I a
who you
person?
can trust.
Like, I could be AI.
And with the technology that's available, anything's possible. So, and you just hear all these crazy stories about my accountant's shaved off a few dollars off the top. That few dollars became millions over the course of time. You're like, holy shit, what's really going on? So even myself, I'd be like, I'm always thinking about like ways where like, as I continue to grow, and my finances increase as well. Like I always think about how I would want to protect myself in the near future. And I always say, like, listen, when it comes down to it, I'm always gonna have at least 2 or 3 accountants looking at the books.
You hit a good point, and I think what is really good for my business is I don't do taxes, and so that's that extra layer where I'm preparing their books, but then someone else that I don't know, that I don't work with, they're doing the taxes. So they're reviewing basically everything that I did. And so they can pinpoint, like, that looks a little weird. That's a little odd. So that absolutely, you should, if you ever, when you get to the point or whatever, if you don't already, having someone do your books and having a separate person do your taxes is a great way to go, because it does happen. Like you hear, like you said, all the time you hear celebrities, people stole their money. The other pieces too, unfortunately, with a lot of entrepreneurs, they're like, oh, I don't get the numbers. Like, I don't know. So, like, you just take care of it. If you're an entrepreneur, even if you feel like you don't get it, you need to look at your numbers.
Yes.
Someone needs to explain them to you.
Yes.
Because if you're just going and then, yeah, of course someone's going to steal from you. You're not even looking at it.
Facts.
So it's easy to be like, let me just pay. I'm going to pay myself.
Yeah.
And you're not going to know because you're not even looking at it.
I remember I was watching a clip with DJ Khaled, I hope I'm saying his name right, and Shay Shay. It was a podcast interview, and Shay Shay was interviewing DJ Khaled, and DJ Khaled was like, listen, whenever he wants to buy something or whenever money's going out of his account, he tells his accountant or whoever handles his finances to text him first so he could okay it, or call him so he could okay it before any money moves out of the bank account.
Yep.
Because he's also heard, and he's major in the industry, but you hear these horrible stories of people's money getting taken left and right. And then all of a sudden, when it's time to like file taxes or whatever the case may be, and the IRS is coming out, hey, you owe so-and-so dollars. You're like, what? And you're thinking that, I understand
everything's kosher.
You're thinking everything's kosher. I understand you're not the accountant side of the thing, but these are just horrible stories that you just hear on a daily basis. Now, and that's why it goes back to what you were saying. As an entrepreneur, you should understand your finances. I don't give a fuck what you say. At the end of the day, your money to grow your business. Or how much
money. You're like, oh, well, there's so much money in my bank account. It don't mean anything.
It does not make shit. I don't care. Like, learn that shit. Understand that shit.
Even like
that's
just
your finances.
Basics.
Just the just the basics. I agree with you 1000%.
Yep.
So you have a great entrepreneurial mindset and a great entrepreneurial spirit that's moving forward. But you also have something great that's coming down right now. I want to touch upon that. So you're getting ready to do a reality TV. Is it a reality TV?
It is.
Right,
it is it's a reality TV show.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so it's literally surreal because low-key I feel like I've always wanted to like go on reality TV, but like I don't want to be in the drama because I don't want people to talk about.
I was about to say it's not gonna be that raunchy old crazy reality.
It's not because I don't want people to talk about me. I can't handle it. So crazy story. So I'm on because now I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business owner. So you know how Facebook and Google know your whole life. Yeah. And so I'm on like Facebook, whatever, just wasting time. And I keep seeing this ad, be on the greatest entrepreneur show. This is the best competition, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's on Prime Video. And so I'm like just scrolling, and then I see it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I was like, let me just hit apply.
It's calling my name. She's like, it's calling my name.
I'm like, let me just hit it. Like I'm never gonna be on a show. Like that's crazy. And so it was a super like simple entry. Like, what's your name? What's your business? What's unique about you? And so I was like, my name. This is my business. I'm Christian. I'm a single mom. I'm like, that sounds good to me. Whatever. So I like think nothing of it because I'm like, I think I'm interesting, but I'm like, I'm sure people don't think I'm interesting. And so I get an email. You made it to the second round. Record yourself. Answer these 3 questions. And like press submit. Be yourself. Don't think about it too much, et cetera, et cetera. Boom. I take like a week because I'm like, oh, like I gotta do my hair. I gotta do my makeup. Like I don't know how I'm gonna look on camera. Like, and so boom. So I finally do it. I submit it. And then I'm just like, again, like, oh, I'm probably not going to make it to the next round. Like, I talk fast. I, like, look like, I don't know, I look crazy. And so, boom. Last round, you've made it to the final round. And so the final round was, like, a phone call with the casting director. And before you even had that last, like, audition type thing, they like sent you a link, watch the show, make sure don't come to the last interview not knowing what the show is about. So I watched a few episodes and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like,
so something they've done already.
Yeah, so nice. They're actually on season 13.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so it's not a huge show. So it's called The Blocks.
Nice.
So it's on Prime Video and I think like on Facebook TV.
How do you spell it? TheBlocks?
So BLOX.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yep. So the
I
blocks.
love the spin on names. I just love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
remind me of like the Network.
Yeah. And so they sent you like a link. So I watched a few episodes and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like this is so it's a competition. So fast forward, like I did the final round. Craziest thing is the woman's talking to me. She's like, all right, 30 seconds, pitch me your business. And I'm like, and then she goes, side note, I actually just hired a bookkeeper. Do you think that this price is reasonable? And I knew it. I'm telling you, I knew I had her. Because now I'm like, oh yeah, like like this is what you need and like this is what you want to make sure you get done. And like so in my mind, I'm like, oh, this has to be a done deal. Because
She's like, I just closed this deal right now.
Yes.
Sign and seal. Let's go.
I was like, we connected. I have to. And she was another like. She was actually on season 8 of the show. No, season 7, I believe. And she is also an entrepreneur. She owns 3 different businesses. And she basically was telling me how like it changed her businesses completely. But so basically what the show is, there's 60 to 70 entrepreneurs from all over the country, and it's like a week-long boot camp / competition. And so I actually am flying out to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
That's fine. That's dope.
Never been there, so I can check that off my list.
That's dope.
And so we filmed for a week, and basically it's kind of like class style settings where each day you're going to learn something about entrepreneurship. Say it's like marketing. Then basically whatever you learn in that day, you have to go back, you have like a really short window, and you have to apply it to your business.
Wow.
Then you have to pitch it to a panel of judges who are also like, who are very successful entrepreneurs that have like $1 million companies, like multiple $1 million companies. And then you're basically competing against those 60 to 70 entrepreneurs, like, and you don't get voted off, which is good. Like you don't like lose, like you don't get kicked out. But basically the better you do, you accumulate points. And then there is like a final like grand prize that you can win at the end of the week. But for me, what was like, and it's on TV, you're on TV. So for me, it was like, I'm on TV, I get to talk about my business. I'm going to be in a space of all entrepreneurs that like have like the same goal. We're all trying to learn, we're trying to grow our businesses. And the panel of judges are also like mentors. And so they're talking to you about your business and they're kind of mentoring you in like how to like basically you're going to learn how to grow your business in this week-long competition.
That's awesome.
It's televised and you could win $15,000.
That's awesome because not only are you gaining something from it, but you're also solidifying who you are as an entrepreneur, as a bookkeeper.
Yep.
Especially to anybody who's looking for your type of service. You can be like, listen, this is my resume right here.
Yep.
This is what I have going on.
Yep.
Secrets to the game. Anybody or any individuals that's interested in entering this industry that you're in. What does that process look like for them?
Yeah, so to be honest, there's a few different ways you can get into kind of bookkeeping and then even to starting your own bookkeeping business. I originally, again, my idea wasn't to start a business. So I went to school for accounting. And so basically that's what bookkeeping is, just accounting. And so for me, I have the degrees and I have the experience in like a corporate environment that I'm easily able to just now take on clients because I already know how to, I knew everything to do with accounting and bookkeeping. It was just learning the business side of owning a business. So you can definitely go that route of like getting a degree in accounting, from like an accredited university. But what I found like running this business and a lot of the business owners that I meet, I've met so many people that their background is not in accounting or bookkeeping. And so one of the cool things is there's a lot of like online learning for bookkeepers where you can learn how to do bookkeeping. You can get, it's not like a degree in bookkeeping, but they have like some certifications that kind of just give you a seal of like, you know what you're doing. And so there's opportunities. There's a lot of different courses out there. QuickBooks actually has a free course where you can become like an advisor. They teach you how to use QuickBooks and then you could take like a test to say, oh, I'm certified in QuickBooks. And so there's a lot of different avenues to get into bookkeeping. I think what's important if you want to go in the field is like you really do have to be a numbers person. If numbers is not really your thing, it's probably going to be challenging because obviously it's a numbers game. But also like if you're a problem solver is another great asset because a lot of things are not straightforward. Sometimes you're putting different pieces together, especially when people mess up their books. And like a lot of people try to do their books themselves and then they're like, I messed this up. And so you kind of have to unravel what happened. So I feel like, having like a numbers mindset, just being in general a problem solver, I think that are good traits to kind of walk into the field.
Gotcha.
And so there's a few ways, like obviously, like I said, you can get a degree in accounting and that kind of puts you there. But there's even like smaller ways where there's a lot of online courses to kind of learn bookkeeping. And then to be honest, like, because you need experience, right?
Yeah.
So many places will take interns or like, like when I started, like I had the knowledge, but like I had just friends who needed help doing their books. Yeah. And so I always tell people that, like even different business owners, because I meet so many people on different journeys where they're just starting out and they don't have backgrounds in accounting. And I'm like, volunteer somewhere, offer to do someone's for free, let them know you need to get the experience. And a small business will let you do that because it's free. They don't have the funds and you're like learning together. So I think that's a great opportunity is don't be afraid to work for free. Because you need experience. And I remember I struggled out of college because I had a master's degree, but I didn't have experience and nobody would hire me.
I think that's how it typically happens anyways. I think you probably touched upon this, but then I want you to dive into a little deeper. For a lot of ladies that are out there that are independent and maybe have kids, what challenges will they face while pursuing entrepreneurship?
I think many, because as you know, like being an entrepreneur is not, there's like, I seen like a meme where like, I quit my 9 to 5 because I was tired of working all the time and now I work 24/7. And so it is a 24/7 job because now you're not just going to a job collecting a paycheck. So you have to have the mindset of like, I think you have to really have the desire to succeed. Because it's going to be extremely long hours. It's going to be, you might have to miss your child's game. You might have to miss some things, it's sacrifice. You hit the nail on the head. Like even I have like younger brothers who are trying to start a business, but if to tell anyone it's a sacrifice. And so it's challenging, it's tired, it's hard, there are tears, there are bad days, there are good days. But it's all about sacrifice for your end goal. And so it's not always great. There are times where like in my business where like I didn't get a client for 6 months and it's like, oh, what am I doing? How am I going to get this done? Like, is this a flop? Like, what was I thinking? And it's like, and you kind of have to kick those negative thoughts to the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I've been through that aspect of it where like I've always had, I end up in a situation periodically where if I'm not doing a deal for like months at a time, I sit in this dark space in my head like, damn, am I supposed to be in this industry? Am I in the right place right now? Is this where I'm supposed to be at? And I always ask God, I'm like, God, can you give me some type of sign? Can you let me know if what I'm doing is right?
Yeah.
So I always have this mental conversation or internal conversation with myself to constantly ask myself, am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right space? And eventually it always comes back to, Sadiq, you are. Just get the fuck out the funk and keep pushing forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to.
You have to. How should somebody overcome that?
I think, like, you are what you speak over yourself.
Ooh, facts.
Like, straight up. So if you're in that place, you have to speak life over yourself. You have to say, I got this. I'm going to do this. I can figure this out. I think you have to really press into that. And also take the steps, right? Like, educate yourself more, network more. You have to kind of get out of your comfort zone of what you're used to in order to grow as a person. It's definitely to grow as an entrepreneur. And I think another piece of it that's important we touched upon is community. Like,
I was just thinking that I was going to speak upon, but go ahead.
It's huge. Like, you have to, because one, typically when you start a business, like most of your family and friends, they really are like, oh, like, you sure you want to quit your job? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to quit my job. Like, now I don't know if this is going to work, but like, if you live your life just wondering what kind of life is that, But community is important. Like, if you don't have people in your life that are supporting your dreams and the crazy things that you want to do, you need to find new people because you can't, like, it's not easy to always pick yourself up. You need someone to encourage you, like, no, girl, you got this. No, girl, look what you already did. Why would this not work out? It's just like a season, right? And like, I'm sure every entrepreneur goes through the seasons of like the up and down,
Of course.
There's going to be times where you're busier,
Mm-hmm.
times where it's a little slower,
Mm-hmm.
but like you just have to think about the end goal,
Yeah.
you know, and like what you want your life to look like.
Facts. I think the network itself that you build around yourself is very crucial because
Absolutely.
without a solid network that understands what you're trying to do, and that network could be maybe people that they come from different angles, right? They could be mentorship,
Yep.
they could be other entrepreneurs, whatever that looks like for you to be able to get so you could get ahead in life is very crucial. Because people that if you're not, they said bird of a feather flock together. You literally have to be with those that are like-minded
Yep.
and that understand the struggles that you go through on a daily basis, right? Because they're the only one. I won't say they're the only one because you might have some friends and some family members that believes in you and pushes you constantly.
Yep.
But typically, the ones that think like you, or does the same shit like you, they're the one who tend to give you that form of encouragement to keep pushing forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? What actions can non-women of color, right, take to be mindful of their privilege and create a space for women of color to be seen and represented in the best possible way?
I think like no, I don't know if I have correct answers.
Yeah.
The best correct answers. But I know like for me, I think one, you have to be aware of your privilege, because I don't know why there are still people that don't realize they are like privileged, and so I think being aware of your privileges is like the first step, and then like creating a space for other like women of color to thrive. So in my business, I actually have interns, and so 2 of my interns have been women of color, and like I'm able to give them opportunity that maybe somebody else wouldn't have because I love minorities. Like I grew up not around a lot of white people, and so a lot of my friends are women of color. And
I see it all over social. I see it. It's definitely obvious. Obvious. I'm like, all right, did she grow? Where she grew up? You know?
Yeah.
So.
And so, but even in growing up in that around, like, you know, I'm still aware that I'm white and that I have a privilege that they don't have. And so I think like being supportive and like, because I do have a lot of friends who are from all different backgrounds. And so I support them in whatever they do. And in my business in particular, like being able to create a space for women, like young women, to like learn accounting, learn bookkeeping. I think that's a great opportunity that I have. And even like one of the girls, this was like great, is she went to Salve Regina and she interned for me. And it was kind of coming towards the end of the internship. And I had reached out to her for whatever reason. And she goes, "Oh, I was just going to text you. I just got a full-time job in accounting because of your internship."
That's dope.
And I was like, let's go. Like, let's go. I was like, it like melted my heart. I was so happy. Because even like, that I'm white, but like I know I struggled to find internships when I was like making out and struggled to get experience. And so I was glad that like for those 2 girls that I was able to provide that. And I have the opportunity to provide it for many more. One of the things I want to actually look into doing is I went to URI, we started an org called Pink Women.
What was that you and a bunch of other ladies?
Yes, it was.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
I was always wondering like who the hell's behind this pink movement.
It was
That's
us.
What's up. That's
so
what's
it was me and a bunch of my friends.
That's what's up.
We started it in 2005, and it's still going strong.
Is it still going to this day?
Big. Like they got like 60 women up in there.
That's fire.
And it's like a multicultural women's organization.
That's fire.
It is. Like when we go back and first of all, we had a blast. That was like the best time of my life.
Trust me. I remember that whole, I'm like, who are these ladies moving like this?
We were lit.
You guys were definitely on fire.
Like, you
guys were definitely on fire. I'm glad that you guys started that shit, man.
It was an incredible experience because it was a group of women. We didn't know what we were doing. We just wanted to be part of something, and it wasn't there, so we created it. And it has been an incredible organization throughout all of the powerful, independent, notoriously knowledgeable women.
Woo!
Okay.
Okay, drop that. That's what's up.
And but that was like crucial of like encompassing all backgrounds, like and women, like being educated, going after their dreams, helping out in the community. We always were like doing community events. It was a great organization, and it's still thriving, which is amazing.
Now, do you guys still
Yes.
stay connected
Yeah.
one way or another and help each other out still?
Yeah, and
That's
so it's funny
awesome.
because there's like an alumni group like email span, and it's always like, you know, we have this event coming up, and it's like people, like one girl's like, oh, I just became a real estate agent,
That's what's
and
up.
like for me, I know I need to dive more into that, and because that's a perfect opportunity for me to offer someone who might be interested in accounting, like,
Yeah.
hey, intern for a couple of months in the summer, see if you like it, see if you're good at it, because as you know, experience leads to the next opportunity.
Facts. Now, for any individual who lack the financial knowledge, how should they go about getting the insight to be more financially savvy?
So in today's day, like the internet is undefeated. So I would say do be careful, but there's so much information online that I feel like if you don't have any knowledge, it's because you don't want to.
Yeah.
Because it's all out there. Everybody's sharing their knowledge one way or another. And so I think like don't be afraid to ask people. If you know someone, if there's someone in your life that like their finances are in order, talk to them about it. Most people are willing to share what they know, or, you know, kind of what things have worked for them. So like don't be afraid to ask people, especially ask someone in a good position. Don't ask someone who's not in a good position. But take advantage of the internet, because a lot of people are out there spitting knowledge. There's stuff I learn every day that I'm like, oh dang, I didn't know that. And but always double check. Try to find another source.
There we go. Yes.
Because there's a lot of also people that spit stuff that I'm like, that is not true.
Yeah.
Or like that's not the whole story.
Yeah.
And so, but I would say definitely take advantage of the online space and read a book. Grab a book. Like people always look at these books. Grab, like I
read
think
them all.
yeah, like I think it's like reading is fundamental, corny, but it's true. Like if you're not gonna know if you don't go after, right? Do your research, look into different books, look into the online space, and definitely don't be afraid to ask people that are around you. Even in like, I don't know, people slide in people's DMs all the time. Slide into like somebody who got their stuff together. Do that.
No, it's
you never
crazy.
know.
No, you never know. I be having people slide into my DMs asking me questions, because obviously I do real estate for a living. And they just, Sadiq, can you answer this question? Or Sadiq, I've done research on this.
That's awesome.
Can you explain this a little bit more so I can be able to have a better or clever understanding of what's going on, what I'm seeing, you know?
Yep.
It goes back, and it also goes back to what you were saying, right? That you should double check information that you are getting, or whatever source that you're getting from online, because there are a lot of bogus information out there. Matter of fact, let me not say bogus, but a lot of missing information or unclarified information that's online that needs to be clarified. You know, so I definitely agree with you in regards to that. Deanna, for those individuals that's looking to get a hold of you, whether it's for your service or maybe tap into your mindset, how can they get a hold of you?
So I do have a website. It's kellyfinancialservicesllc.com. I am on Facebook, Kelly Financial Services LLC, and Instagram. And then my regular Instagram profile is Miss D Kelly, 2 S's, 2 E's. But yeah, my website has all my contact information. My IG has all my contact information, and so I check my DMs, I check my emails. And for me, like because of like growing up the way I did, I answer everyone's questions. People come all the time with like, oh, like the S Corp thing. Like I get random questions all the time. So like I'm open and willing to help anyone.
That's awesome.
And if I have the answer, I'll give it to you.
That's awesome. How does Deanna Kelly define success in her own ways?
I would say for me, you know, success looks different for a lot of people. And I think first and foremost, you know, you can't compare someone else's success to yours because it looks different. For me, there's like many things I would say like have been successful in my life, but for me it's more about like finding like happiness and freedom. So freedom in many forms, right? My goal is financial freedom. But freedom to move how I want to move, freedom to not have to stay in one place if I don't need to. So I think that's a big thing. Freedom is more, obviously I want to make money. I want to grow my business, because I want to leave an inheritance for my son. I want to have a legacy. I want his kids to be taken care of. But for me, like, it's not totally financial. That freedom is a big piece. One of the major reasons I wanted to fully go full throttle in my business is because I personally can work from anywhere in my business. So I can travel, I can be there whenever my son needs it, and so I'm not tied down to a location, to an office, to anything. And so, like, for me, success in my eyes is freedom to just live life on my own terms.
Love it, love it. You guys know what it is. It's your boy Sadiq. Great interview with the lady Deanna Kelly. But if you guys ever want to get a hold of me, you guys know how to go about that. You guys could definitely catch me on the Netwrk, TheNetwork.co on Instagram. Also, we just launched the TikTok aspect as well, and we just created a specific YouTube page for the Netwrk also, so you could definitely find us now on the Netwrk on YouTube specifically to start watching all these podcast episodes that's previously aired, and obviously the ones that's moving forward as well. And if you guys haven't followed the new YouTube page yet, please go ahead and follow. I haven't pushed it out there like that, but definitely I'm letting you guys know now. Follow. But until next time, it's your man Sadiq. Catch you guys on the flip side. Let's go.